The views and opinions expressed on this platform are of me, myself, and I, not any agency I'm affiliated with. So please do not take what I say personally. Welcome to another episode of 22 at the Lips. This is your host, Alexis, and today I have a guest, as always. This is Cameron Pizzo coming at you from St. George Fire Department. Cameron and I have run a couple of calls together. He's a really cool dude. No lie, first time when I ever saw you on scene. For the listeners, Cameron has a strap for the radio that says Pizzo on it on the back. Swear to God, I thought it said pizza, and I was like, this is my dude. I can vibe with that. Who doesn't love pizza? But no, it's your last name.
That'd be an interesting. Just pizza.
Just pizza. So, Cameron, if you want to tell the people who you are, what you stand for, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm Cameron Pizzo, actually. So it's not Pizzo. That's okay, though. A lot of people say it's all right. It's just like pizza. I'm from Oklahoma originally, but my wife and I, when we got married, we moved here to southern Utah because her whole family lives down here. So she won that one. But I also prefer Utah over Oklahoma, so nothing against Oklahoma. I really like it here. I feel like I fit in, and it's a good place. I've been a firefighter EMT for 6 years now, I think. Yeah, something like that. And yeah, I love it. It's the best job in the world. I used to work on a box more. More as in I used to work on a box pretty much all the time. We were a fire department that was basically just an ambulance service that ran also fire calls. But, yeah.
Is that kind of like a fire rescue setup?
So, it was a city fire department. It's actually at Guyman, Oklahoma, in the Panhandle. And we had, I think, a total of 3 ambulances while I was there. 4 ambulances, sorry. And the majority of our calls here and everywhere really are EMS calls, and so there's not an ambulance service because it's in the middle of nowhere, and so we were the ambulance service as the city, so we ran the EMS calls.
I do want to touch on that in a little bit about the fire department coming on EMS calls, but when we get there, we get there. So tell me, why did you get into this job? What was your pathway into being a firefighter? What was the motivation? Why do you stay in fire? Tell me about that.
So, when I was a little kid, I think I was 4 and my brother was 2. And I just have one brother. Thankfully, we would have burned the house down. We didn't. But we decided to put a Mr. Potato Head on a lamp and see what would happen. See him glow, through the lamp. But he ended up melting pretty quick because the lamp was pretty hot. And if my mom hadn't came in, it would have caught on fire shortly after. But she came in and unplugged the lamp, and my mom, bless her heart, instead of punishing us, which I'm pretty sure she did yell at us a little bit, but that's okay, we deserved it. She decided to take us to the fire station to teach us a lesson, basically. And I had a firefighter costume that I'd worn for Halloween, and so anyway, we went to the fire station, and my mom brought the lamp with the melted Mr. Potato Head on it and showed the firefighters, and basically they kind of lectured us, taught us, whatever you want to say. But they also gave us a tour of the fire station, and I was just flabbergasted. Of course, I was 4 years old. I already had a fire costume, but I had never been in a fire station. I'd never seen a fire truck up close. I'd only seen them zoom by me going code to something. So that's kind of where it started. And then after that, I was under the impression that I had to go to college, and so where I'm from in Tulsa, you can go to the community college for free for your first 2 years as long as you're from that county. Which is pretty cool. It's actually done a lot of good for some people I know.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah, you can get your associate's degree completely free. Actually, you can get it free before you even graduate high school if you do things right. I did not do that, but so I decided, I was like, well, if I can go for free, I'll just go there. And I was thumbing through like what I could major in because I didn't really know. I'm a musician, so I like kind of thought about that. But they had a program for fire and EMS, which at the time was all online. I don't know what it's like now. So whatever. But even doing it online, I was very intrigued with it. I did like a silly class, like building construction, which ended up helping me. It helps me now even. But then I wanted to actually volunteer or work somewhere while I was doing this. And my dream was to be a firefighter paramedic. Not there yet, but. So I started asking around to a bunch of different fire departments, and everyone is just kind of like, there's a word for it, but the best way to describe it is just they weren't interested in helping me at all with like anything I wanted to do. And I went all over, like from Tulsa area, like literally like up to almost Missouri, just looking for a chance to get on somewhere, and nobody had any sort of program or anything. And then I stumbled upon this program in the Panhandle of Oklahoma, which is the opposite side of Oklahoma than Tulsa, where they'll give you your associates in fire science and EMS, and they'll basically let you be an intern at the Guyman Fire Department. They don't do this program anymore because it wasn't working out with, I would assume, the commitment of students. I don't know. I didn't ask too many questions. But anyway, when I was there, it was great. There were a bunch of people in the program. I ended up going out there, and I actually got to work on a rig. Like, I got to work in the back of a box because I was in the AEMT class, and I got to do all these crazy things. And my first call was an overdose. Like, nice. Completely uncertified, just sitting in the box. I rock up, and it's an overdose, and I push a Narcan, and I was like, whoa, what's going on? I didn't know this happened. So, yeah, I did that for 2 years in the Panhandle, and then I ended up moving to Idaho. And during that 2 years, I got my Fire 1 and 2, and a bunch of other stuff. They helped me through a bunch of stuff. And then, anyway, I went to Idaho to continue my education, and then I ended up going on a mission for my church to Bulgaria for 2 years. So I say I've been a firefighter for 6 years. For 2 years of that, I didn't really fight fire. I was just a missionary. So, and then I came back and immediately started working part-time in Madison Fire Department in Idaho. I was there shortly. It was great. I had a good time, but I wanted to get a full-time job. And so I moved to Salt Lake, where I met my wife, and then one thing after another, I ended up coming down here, basically. So, yeah. And all in that, I got my EMT and my advanced EMT somewhere in there. So
somewhere along the ride.
Yeah.
I want to circle back to something. Not only does Cameron have a sick mustache, dude, what do you play?
Like music?
Music, yeah.
I'm like a low brass player. So I played like all through high school, and then after high school I did 3 years of like something called drum corps. Do you know what that is, maybe?
Yes.
Okay.
I was first chair in middle school.
Oh, okay. So I was in the Cavaliers Drum and Bugle Corps.
Okay.
And there I played contra, but like through high school I played euphonium was my primary. But then I tried to finish school and major in music in Idaho while I was there, but I didn't finish. So this is what it is. Maybe one day. It's not like on my radar right now. I'm happy with where I'm at.
Very cool. So in your journey going through like fire academies and stuff like that, tell me, what do you even learn? Like we talked about, I had Skylar on here and we talked about the fire academy and things like that and kitty litter and whatnot. But like
I actually didn't learn that in my fire academy.
Really?
It was just like a in the field kind of thing, like, oh yeah, we just put kitty litter on this. So
Should have gone through Skylar's Academy then. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Actually, kind of not.
I'm sure that I would assume they learn it. My academy is different because it's in Oklahoma. Sorry, continue your question.
No, you're good. It's like, what does it take to learn to be a firefighter?
Yeah, so I think personally the most important thing in the fire academy is survival and rescue. So we learn all sorts of stuff. But when I was going through my academy, that was really emphasized. I went through the OSU FST Academy in Oklahoma. It was actually out of Stillwater. And here it's like 3 months long. It's like Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I'm sure a lot of departments do it like that. I did it condensed. So I did it in 2 weeks straight. And then for my Fire 1 and then Fire 2 was a week. And so basically it was like 3 weeks long. And then my hazmat was like another week, I believe, for 2 weeks. But anyway, yeah, so the most important thing they taught us, in my opinion, was rescues and firefighter survival, because otherwise, why do we exist? Like, a building can burn down. Like, if this kitchen were to catch on fire right now and we all got out safe, like, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. The fire department would come, they'd fight the fire. If it got out of hand and the whole house burned down but we were out, it would be okay. Like, insurance has it covered. Granted, you'd lose some valuables and it's not a good day for anybody, but everyone's out and safe and still alive. So in my opinion, a fire department exists to rescue others, if that makes sense. So that's the most important thing I learned in my academy. And then also how to rescue yourself. A lot of times in EMS and even fire departments, we put like BSI scene safe, right? For our own safety first. But I kind of flip my mindset when I'm on a fire ground, as in like, it's the other person first and then me second. Granted, I am still going to take all these precautions to make sure I'm safe. Sorry, I'm getting off on a tangent. Okay. I'm doing all these precautions to make sure I'm safe, and if I'm trained correctly, then I'm safer. The more you train, the more safe you are on a fire ground, or anything really. But at the end of the day, like I said, we're there to help others. We also have to know how to get ourselves out, and so learning that was really cool. You can do all sorts of stuff depending on your situation if you're stuck somewhere. And then also saving our other firefighters. I feel like that's more important actually than saving ourselves. That we had do something called RIT, so Rapid Intervention Teams. Basically, I'm throwing ladders, doing all these things outside, but I'm also ready at a moment's notice to go in and pick somebody out that is a firefighter. Because there's people assigned to search and they're assigned to interior attack and all these other things. But anyway, my job, if I was RIT, would be out on the fire ground outside, and I'd be waiting until somebody went down, basically. It's just insurance. So that's important to me, too. Sorry, I'm still on a tangent. But yeah, like throwing ladders, there's specific ways to throw ladders because you can throw your back out, and they're kind of heavy. So it's kind of fun to, like, it's honestly one of my favorite things, is just like throw a ladder on my shoulder and go to work. Stuff like that.
A true hero.
Not really. But it's satisfying. You'll have to do it sometime. Just like there's like different ways you can throw a ladder on your shoulder. Like, it's just satisfying to throw a 24-foot ladder on your shoulder.
I have a bad back, so I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
I do want to highlight something you said about kind of in that cheesy motto of have your partner six.
Yeah.
I think that's so important because, like, I mean, for EMS, it's more of like watching your surroundings. What is the patient doing? That kind of thing. And then, like, if your partner's doing something you don't agree with, and I think this is part of it also. If your partner's doing something that you don't agree with, being like, hey, what if we did this instead? Something like that. But I think that's one of the most crucial aspects of being a first responder. Just because at the end of the day, whether you are EMS, whether you're fire department, whether you're police officers, the first responder community, we have to look out for each other. at the end of the day, like, no matter who you are, we're here for each other, basically, whether that's in mental health, whether that's in the physical safety, things like that. I do want to appreciate, I think it was Garrett.
Oh, you don't have to say names. It's okay.
No, it was Garrett. Because I wear that leopard radio strap sometimes, and he calls me out on it every shift.
Yeah.
But it makes me noticeable. Leaves an impression.
Yeah.
Insert hair flip.
Yeah, I dig the leopard strap. I don't know if I'd
you.
wear it, but that's just me. I don't know.
Well, it'd be hard to find a radio strap that says Hardwick and like fit all of that on one strap.
Yeah, that's true.
But no, we were going into this house, and I don't do birds. I do not do birds. And so it's at night too, which made it even worse. But we're going into this house, and in like the foyer outside walk-in area, I swear to God, there's like 6 birds just flying around. And I just duck because I can't. And my partner's like, come on, it's not that bad. Poor Garrett like went and was like shooing them away a little bit. He's like, I got you, Alexis, no worries. But he's also laughing at me the whole time. But in that moment, I knew Garrett had me. Yeah. And I appreciate that because I definitely wasn't going in that house.
That's awesome.
So tell me about the department you work for. Tell me about St. George Fire, what you guys do. What's like do y'all have like mottos that you stand by in the department, or I don't know. We can edit this out if it doesn't make any sense.
No, it's okay. So St. George Fire. So we have 5 full-time stations. So 7, 1, 6, 9, and 8. And then and here we have engines at each one except Station 1. We run out of a ladder. We also have brush trucks at almost every station, and then a bunch of reserve trucks. So I'm on A shift, so we work 48-96 schedule. So I work 2 days and I have 4 days off. I don't really have 4 days off because I also work for Dameron Valley Fire Department, where I tend to work 1 day a week, so 24-hour shift a week, and then I also drive school bus for the county, which is super fun. I actually just got back from Moab with my wife on a bus trip, so that was super fun.
How cute.
We got to go go hang out in Moab, go shop, and we even the swim team, Hurricane swim team, they wanted to go to hike, and so I figured out a way we could get into Arches with just my National Parks Pass, and we went and hiked Delicate Arch. Anyway, yeah, back to what I was saying about St. George. So St. George, yeah, we honestly, I love working for St. George. I've been there since January of this last year, so I've been there a year pretty much now, and I've loved it. I've had so much fun. It was a little hard for my first 6 months just because I was the new guy, and trying to find my place as a new guy, but also having 5+ years of experience at the time. It was it's a little humbling, but also I had to work on some things just to tone myself down a little bit, if that makes sense. But once I did and I opened myself to learning more, it was awesome. I've had so much fun, and we just have a blast. We do a lot of work. We're always doing something. And last shift even, we were up late both nights just getting stuff ready because we just moved stations. But anyway, yeah, I love St. George. And then I guess maybe you want me to talk about Dameron since I work there.
I was going to focus on just St. George.
Oh, okay. Whatever you want.
Because Skylar filled in a lot about Dameron. I'm
yeah, he's the captain up there, so I'm a lieutenant up there, but
okay, just gonna casually throw in, I'm also a lieutenant. Sounds really important.
No, I mean it's not really.
Oh.
It's a firefighter, lieutenant, captain. But
it's something.
I love working for Dameron, but we don't have to talk about it if he talked about it. So one thing I will say about St. George, there's a lot of opportunity for growth. So you don't have to be promoted to captain to promote. They have different levels of firefighter, which is one of the really intriguing things whenever I applied, because they have firefighter level 1 after your probationary year, and then 2 and 3 and then captain. So you can be making just as much as you would. You'll be making more as a captain, but you'll be making a significant amount of money as a firefighter level 3, rather than having to wait until a captain spot opens up and then you're ready for it and everything, like all the stars align, you know. You can just you can do these promotions based on your own agenda, kind of. So like if you want to be a firefighter level 2, then you make that happen. If you don't want to be that, then you don't. So it's kind of like that.
I feel like that also decreases like stagnancy.
Yeah, for sure. Like one thing I've noticed actually is exactly that. Like everyone's trying to better themselves with certifications, training, whatever it may be, to gain that next level. And you're not really competing against anyone but yourself. So it's like, I think it's awesome. It's super healthy in my opinion. Just based on like things I've seen in the past with like different fire departments, like people quit if they don't get a promotion because it's so upsetting, because they're like, oh well, this person didn't deserve it, blah blah blah, which I'm sure still happens everywhere, but I feel like that doesn't really happen here at my fire department, just because like you have so many different opportunities for growth. Plus the city is growing like crazy. Like I don't know if it still is growing as much as it was, but it's like it's crazy. So like we're building Station 10 this year, which is going to be a slow station for a while. It's out by Desert's Edge.
Oh yeah.
There's like 2 frequent flyers out there, but anyway. You probably ran out there.
I was about to say, I can see their faces right now.
Yeah. Like there's one guy who always meets us at the church.
Oh, dude. That's what I love putting like...
It'll come in as a Delta and he's like, yeah, I just don't feel right. I'm just anxious. I'm like, bro, it's 2 a.m, bro. You just woke me up.
I risked my life for this.
This is day 2, 2 a.m. I'm not here for this right now.
Dude, I love putting in my report, dispatch 2, and then put in the church name. I'm like, ha ha ha, we went to church.
Yeah. That's funny.
No, I would say this even if you weren't right here. St. George Fire is a crisp department. Like it's nice. I've never had problems with those firefighters. I've never looked at them and said like, wow, these guys are sloppy. Like sometimes I get on scene and it's like you said, 2 a.m. I'm like dragging myself out of bed. And you guys get there and like you all look like well put together. And I'm like,
we look it, but yeah. Anyway.
As long as you look like it.
Internally, I'm dying. I'm like the dog on the meme with the coffee cup and the fire and flames, you know? I'm just like, but anyway. I digress on that.
After yesterday, I could go on a whole tangent. Dude.
People abuse 911. It's not too terribly bad in St. George, but
it's still bad.
It still exists, yeah. It was worse where I came from. Seriously.
Really?
I literally I was the boo-boo truck sometimes. I would go and put a Band-Aid on somebody's finger and leave. It came in as a bleeding out or whatever. Like, what do you do?
And it just, dude, that stuff hurts.
Yeah. It's like, why did those moments you're like, why did I choose this job? But then it's fine afterward.
Typically, like me and Cody, we'll go back to the truck to like get the stretcher or whatever. And I look at him and I just keep saying, I love my job.
Yeah.
I love my job.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah.
So on that note, what keeps you going in the firefighter world, and like what helps prevent burnout for you?
So I do, between St. George and Dameron, I work a lot of fire, I feel like, every week. And I actually didn't come up with a good answer for this question, but, excuse me. I feel like lately, just going into work with a really positive attitude, it lifts my team spirits, and it also lifts my own spirit if I'm not there all the way. And I'm sure my crew would attest to this. Like lately, I've been so excited to switch stations because I've been at Station 8 for a year. Nothing against Station 8, it's great. I actually enjoyed working there, but I was time for a change, especially since that was the only station I ever knew. So lately, since I've gone to 7, I've been like just on top of the world, and I feel like whenever I am in that mood, I don't feel as burnt out from anything, rather than whenever I'm like kind of sulky and like, man, you know what I mean? So it's literally just an attitude thing, I think, for me. I know it's different for everybody, but then again, like, I've been blessed to where I haven't had like a nasty call in a while. There's only been like one that I can really think of in St. George in my past year. Other than that, like, and that I feel like makes a huge difference. If I was running in Vegas, I would probably be a little bit more burnt out. And I don't know what exactly they run, but I assume it's a bunch of nasty calls. And in Oklahoma, we had a bunch more nasty calls than we do here. And so that wears on you. And like, I had a lieutenant in Oklahoma. He ended up having to retire because he ran on a baby who died, and he couldn't take it anymore. He had been a paramedic forever. I don't even know how long. He had worked in Oklahoma City on a box, and then he was one of our lieutenants at the fire department. Anyway, but yeah, just like, I feel like he just had so many things build up, and he didn't take care of it as he went. I feel like I'm pretty good about taking care of it. Like, if I have a therapist in town. If I need to go talk to somebody, I have somebody. I haven't seen him in a while because I've been pretty happy, but no. And like, I literally just went and started talking to him because of that one call. I was like, I just want to take care of this. Like, I don't feel anything from it, which is a blessing, I feel like, for me. I don't feel a lot of feelings from these nasty calls, but I want to take care of it before it happens, if that makes sense. Yeah. And I feel like if others do that, then it will help them not burn out.
Absolutely. And I do want to point out something. If you go to therapy, it's like going to the doctor. You shouldn't only go to the doctor when you feel sick. You should also get healthy checkups.
I haven't done that in a while, but probably should.
It's time for a checkup, Cameron. No, what you said about if people would like handle it as it comes along versus letting it build up is so important. And I mean, I can totally understand why your lieutenant retired. Like, yeah, those are hard calls, man.
And it wasn't just that one. It was like 25 plus years of just built up. Like, I'm not going to deal with this because
it's hard.
Yeah, and that's what he told us. That's not even me making that up and assuming things. Like, he told us, he came in, and he told us, like, I should have been dealing with this as it came. So,
man. Tell me how you do balance your work and personal life. Like, how do you decompress?
So my wife is probably going to listen to this podcast, so she's probably going to enjoy this question.
Hi, Mrs. Pizzo.
So I work a lot between my 3 jobs, and I feel like trying to figure out my work-life balance, and it's really hard because I was promoted to lieutenant with Dameron, so I have a lot more responsibility up there, and plus we live up there, and so as we get a call, like, I might go in off duty, I have meetings I have to go to now, stuff like that. But how do I balance it? Like I said, I'm still trying to figure it out, but one thing that really helps my wife and I is just scheduling our months, or telling her my work schedule. That helps. And then also, like, taking her on a school bus trip wherever. because all she had to do was get her background check, and she can come on a school bus trip with me somewhere. So that was super fun to do stuff like that. She's only been on 2 with me so far, and I don't go on too many long ones. I take that back. She's been on a few with me, just 2 overnighters. But doing stuff like that, it's just like little things here and there. I feel like that makes a big difference. And then trying to make the most of my time off. Like today, I have the day off. I don't have anything going on. I was like going to drive a school bus, but they ended up not needing me, so it worked out. Like all I have to do today is do this podcast and do a bunch of chores for my wife. So,
and I'm sure she appreciates that.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if I get to all of them, and then we'll see if she appreciates it.
So going back into your background of your journey to get to where you are today, from your fire side, your EMS side, the sick mustache, musician side, all of that, fire or EMS, which do you like better?
Ooh. So we run a lot of EMS calls. That's pretty much what we do. But there's just, I don't know, like, just to answer your question, just flat out, fire. I love being a firefighter. There's just something about it. It's so exciting. Like, it is so much more fun to fight a fire and do work on a fire ground than to work a code. It is not fun to be working a code with a bunch of people's family around crying and screaming. It's a little different than fighting a fire. However, I do feel just as fulfilled from EMS, which might differ from a lot of firefighters. A lot of firefighters I know, they don't love EMS, which, I don't know, like, it's your own preference, but I still feel fulfilled in that I helped people most of the time whenever I am running EMS calls. So, but short answer, fire.
I'm going to disagree because the thought of going into a fire absolutely terrifies me.
Hey, that's fine. Like, it's not for everybody. But it's so much freaking fun. I have so much fun just doing work. And, like, I don't know. Sorry, continue.
No, you're good. I'll put it this way. I would rather do 5 codes back to back than have to walk into a fire, even fully geared, even fully whatever, all the turnouts and whatnot. That is terrifying to me.
So it is terrifying, like, from the outside looking in, but you get comfortable with it. And not comfortable in an unsafe manner, but comfortable enough with your crew and with whomever is IC. You get comfortable with trusting them and knowing that if something unsafe is going to happen, then you'll back out. We had a fire off of Dixie, and people weren't answering their radios. And so our battalion chief had us all come out and regroup, talk about it, and I gained a lot of trust for him in that moment. Just like, not that I didn't have that trust for him, but having that experience trust with him. So stuff like that, it like makes me comfortable in a fire. However, like, I have been on fires where I feel a little lost, or like communication isn't too great. This hasn't happened in St. George. That's my disclaimer. But I have been on those situations, and it might even just be for a split second. And then, yeah, it is a little scary. And you have to have a healthy fear of it. But at the end of the day, like, if you're trained and you've been in enough live burns or whatever it is, then you're going to feel comfortable in there.
That is something that the one day of the fire academy I went to, the orientation, something I can respect. The orientation of the fire academy, something I can respect is that's what they were driving from, like, before we even opened a textbook, is you have to have the healthy fear of the fire. It's
Yeah.
not, you can't just go in while everything's blazing and think you're going to, how do I put this?
Be a superhero or...
Yeah, be a hero, basically.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say it, but You can't go in thinking you're going to be a hero and you're going to
You're
tackle
not the Hulk.
Yeah, no.
You're still Alexis. You just have turnouts on, you know?
Yeah.
So, touching on that, on what you just said, I think you totally, like, if you wanted to be, you could totally do it. And I even told my wife this, like, she's like, no, I could never do such a thing. Like, what do you mean? I'm too small to go in a fire, blah, blah, blah. And I think that's total baloney. Like, I went through the fire academy with some small girls who did just as much work as I did. So, I don't see anything. It's just, I guess, getting over that hump for you, maybe. But once you do, like, you'd be okay.
That's right, ladies. You can do it too.
Yeah, this isn't just a man's job. And like on my crew, not on my crew, but on my shift, we have Chloe. I don't know if you've ran with Chloe.
Chloe's awesome.
Yeah, she's a beast. I'm sure she's more. Yeah, she can do a lot more probably than I can. So like, I don't know. Like, it's just your mindset. Like, I don't know. It's not a man's job though, being a firefighter or being an EMT. Either one. It's definitely for both.
Universal. Tell me about either the craziest call, the funniest call, a call that's challenged you. Tell me about a call. What you got? Story time.
So the one that comes to my mind is probably one of the least fun calls I ever went on. We were in Oklahoma this was like in 2016 probably. So I was pretty fresh and everything. And we get this call for a man down. Like, his wife found him. She found him dead, but she didn't know he was dead. We obviously knew he was dead upon arrival. And it was in a ratty mobile home in the middle of like some podunk town that doesn't even have. It was disgusting, honestly. There's a hole. So there's a hole in the hallway, in like the 2-foot wide hallway that you had to squeeze through. There's a big hole in the floor that we had to jump over to get to his room. And on top of all this, there were a lot of chihuahuas everywhere. There were like, I don't even know how many chihuahuas. We were stepping all over chihuahuas. Like, trying to, like, not step on a chihuahua, you know? Like, why so many chihuahuas? I don't know why people love chihuahuas. I don't love chihuahuas. I'm a dog person, but I'm not a chihuahua person.
Same.
Anyway, but they were like little rats everywhere. And they were barking at us and nipping at our heels, and we're trying to get back to this guy. Finally, we get back there. He's obviously dead. We're about to start him, and we were like, wait, no, he's cold. And so then in Oklahoma, it's a little different than here. I don't know what they do here with super dead people, but there we had to wait on the mortician, especially since this guy was 350 plus. So he was a little bariatric, and we had to squeeze him through this hallway. So we stayed there to help, and it was obviously at 2 a.m, because why not? And
the most convenient.
Yeah, and so I get finally the mortician comes after however many, probably 30 minutes, I would assume. I don't know, time doesn't really exist on an EMS call. I don't know why, but you get back and you're like, dang, it's already been an hour? Anyway, I had the head, and we had him sheeted, I believe. And I was backing down this hallway, and I knew that hole was there. But I wasn't positive where it was, and as soon as I thought about that, I stepped in this hole, along with a few chihuahuas that were nipping at my heels. And this dead man just landed on me while I was in this hole. Thankfully, I didn't get hurt, but I was terrified. Anyway, so that was probably the worst call. One of the worst calls. I got out of it, obviously, but yeah, it wasn't very pleasing.
Dude, I don't even know what I would do. I don't even know. One, he's not a small guy. Two,
I should have had somebody spotting me because I knew it was there, you know?
But it's not like you're backing up out of a call and it's like, oh, can you spot me real quick? Like, no. It's you and your crew. That's it. Like,
yeah. Yep.
And then the chihuahuas.
So many chihuahuas. I don't know. Probably 30 at least. I'm sure I've exaggerated the story to my friends before, though, and told them hundreds. But I'm pretty sure there's probably around like 30, 40. A lot of chihuahuas for some reason.
Dead guys, chihuahuas, a hole in the floor. I hate that. Everything about that.
Yeah.
I hate that so much.
But I didn't quit, so.
I think I would have. Dead guy landing on me, I think that would be the thing that ends my career.
Or like, yeah, never mind. There's just, I could talk about a bunch of nasty stuff. I will, actually. My captain, a few months ago, somebody farted in his face. Like, he didn't mean to, but I about barfed. I about lost my marbles on that one. It was not already smelling good. And I carry Vicks Vapo Rub for this very reason, and I'm pretty sure on that call I didn't have any on for some reason.
That's the one.
Yeah.
The one call.
I always offer some to my crew, too, and they're like, no, I'm good. And then they're like, man, it smells so bad in there. Yeah, by the way, if anybody's listening to this in EMS, get Vicks Vapo Rub. If you don't have Vicks Vapo Rub, what are you doing?
I don't.
Dude, you need to get some. What are you doing? It's so much better with Vicks Vapo Rub. Especially the Vicks and a mask. I don't smell anything.
Dude, but going into those nursing homes, I would miss the smell, that crisp smell of a UTI.
Yeah, no, I'm okay. I'll just let them tell me they have a UTI, because they probably know, because they probably had one before.
They probably all have one.
Yeah. And then, like, that diarrhea call we went on together.
Oh, God.
I didn't smell anything on that call. Nothing.
I still remember that.
Yeah.
That was crisp.
You probably smelt it, huh?
I did. I didn't even wear...
I didn't smell anything.
So knowing what you know now, what is a piece of advice you'd give to someone either going into fire, someone already in fire, somebody thinking about making that venture into the hero world?
Hero? That's a little cringy, Alexis. Hero world? You're a hero.
I'm not a hero.
Yeah, see how cringy that is? Okay, what's my advice to people going into it? Just coming from where I came from and how I did things, is to like jump on getting your certifications, because you're not gonna get. First of all, you're not gonna get hired anywhere without your certifications. But second, as you get these certifications in fire and EMS and whatever, you're gonna gain a lot of experience just from these classes, and then in turn, you're gonna be able to go out in the field and gain even more experience, because honestly you're going to learn a lot in academies and in your EMT school and everything, but you're going to learn a lot more in the field than you ever will in school. So that would probably be my advice. Also, probably we could use a lot more humility in the fire service. I'm sure it's the same on a private ambo, but actually, yeah, never mind.
No, go ahead.
No, it's okay.
It is true, though. It's universal.
We could use a lot more humility everywhere. So just going into everything humble, and that's a lesson I had to learn the hard way. And I'm sure that the people I know that are listening to this can attest to that. I've had to learn how to just like humble myself and basically bring myself way, way down so that I can lead in a different way rather than just trying to force that, oh, I know this, I'm good. Because I didn't always know this and I wasn't always good. So it's better to ask questions, and to maybe even your crew will make you feel stupid for asking the questions, but that's okay, because you're going to learn from them answering that, or maybe they won't answer it and you have to go Google it or whatever. Like, you're going to learn if you ask questions and you go to sources that you trust, and you humble yourself rather than thinking you're a hero and you know everything, because you're not. You don't know everything. But anyway, yeah, like, just continue to learn and continue to better yourself.
Lastly, if you could change it all, knowing what you know now, would you still take the path and go into fire?
Yes. I love my job. Sorry, I'm a little long-winded on all these questions. I actually wanted to be a naval aviator when I was in high school. I still thought about firefighting, but I wanted to fly off boats. I thought that was so cool, like that a jet could fly off and land on a freaking boat. Like, honestly, it's still one of the coolest things that we've accomplished, in my opinion, as humans, that we can do that. Because then you can take the military anywhere. Anyway, beside the point, I really wanted to do that. I tried to do these hard classes in high school and completely failed. And I was super bummed about it because I wanted to like go into college and be an engineer so that I could be at the top of my flight class and all this, blah, 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 blah. But I don't think I would have been as happy doing that. Firefighting and EMS has been so fulfilling for me. Just honestly, like at the core of everything we do is helping others, and that is so much more fulfilling than helping yourself. I feel that when I work, even if I'm running dumb calls where I'm rolling my eyes before I go, internally, of course, I try to keep a positive attitude on the outside, but even if it is something like that, I still feel that I have helped that person because they're not calling 911 for no reason. Even if it's not for what they said, they're calling 911 for one reason or another. Anyway, and so we're able to help them, and that's super fulfilling for me. So to answer your question, no, I wouldn't change a thing. I love where I'm at. I love my job. Yeah, I love my crew. It's great.
And kind of like you said about boosting morale, as long as you keep that in the forefront, that we're literally here to help others, we're servants to our community, whether we're getting mashed into the ground by the people we're trying to help or we're literally saving someone's life, that's what keeps the passion alive, and that's what keeps you going. So yeah. Totally get that. Do you have anything else to add or anything you want to input? Or
probably, but I could keep going all day probably, but I'm okay.
I'm out of questions. Do you have anything?
No, it's super fun. Yeah. I've never done a podcast before, so this is...
Well, I'm still making this up as I go along.
Yeah,
so
it was great. I will add a few things actually. I just thought
Go ahead.
I feel that in the fire service and EMS, you don't, and this is my advice to like people that are looking into coming into EMS or fire or whatever, but maybe even people that are in fire and EMS, you don't have to be a captain or a chief or a supervisor of any kind to be a leader. You can do that from the back seat. Like there's a book, I haven't read it yet, but just the name of it, I've thought of it a lot. It's called Jump Seat Leadership, I believe. Don't quote me on that. It's something like that. If you look up Jump Seat Leadership, it'll pull up. But basically the jump seat's where I sit. It's in the back of the truck. And you don't have to have that captain seat to lead on a call. You can step up and start to do things. And just coming in, like you said, with that, or like we were talking about, just with the boosted morale, like that's leading. Like you don't have to be a leader to lead. But yeah, and I feel like that's really important in our profession because I feel like a lot of people get caught up in like the title thing. And granted, I've been lucky. I haven't found that too much down here in southern Utah, but that happens that happened in band. When I was in band, people wanted to be a section leader so bad that they would they become just kiss butts and like they don't do anything but that, and they lose their whole personality over this. But it's not about that. It's about like being a true leader. Or how do I put this? I heard a quote from another podcast I was listening to. It's a fire podcast, and don't quote. I listened to a bunch of them, so I don't even know which one it was. But he basically said, the best crews, you can't tell who's in charge. So my goal is to get my crew to where people are like, which one's your captain? if he's wearing a jacket and they can't see his bugles or whatever, they're like, which one of you guys is the captain? And I feel like then we will be successful because we're all carrying our load, we're all leading from the front. Anyway.
That's really good.
Yeah, I basically stole that from something that somebody else said, but but yeah, it's like we have a policy in St. George. It's not a written policy, I don't think, but if we see something unsafe, if my chief is doing something unsafe and I call him out on it, I'm like, hey, like, you should, like, we're working a wreck or something, he doesn't have his reflective vest on, I can say, hey, you should probably have your reflective vest on. And he might write me up or whatever. I'm sure he wouldn't. I'm sure he would just go and get it put on. But my captain has told me if I do something like that, he will back me up to the very end. So just stuff like that. Like, and I'm not saying it'd be like a safety D-bag, but like...
No, but accountability.
Yeah. Your leaders expect that from you. Your leaders expect us, or a good leader expects you to step up and do your part. Granted, you're not icing a fire or doing all these other things because that's not your job. You're doing your job, but most of the fire service is making sure your spot on the rig is completely clean. Like, we spent probably like 8 hours last tour because we just started at the new station. I'm not going to say which station. We spent like 8 hours there just cleaning our spots. And like my spot, like, I don't know what it's like now because it's been 4 days, but when I left, it was pristine. And like, it was a little rainy, so the rig wasn't perfectly clean, but I was proud of what I left that rig as. Just doing stuff like that, like, at the station, like taking initiative to train, or like maybe you're just sitting around, maybe you're on a crew that doesn't like to do these things. Maybe take the initiative to listen to a podcast, or because if you're listening to a podcast about leadership, you're growing. If you want to take that initiative to work on something that you're struggling with medically, like if you want to, lately we've been doing on my crew. We've been doing medication of the tour. And I didn't really know anything about promethazine, so we did everything about promethazine. And we, like, we're golden with promethazine. Even our basic with us is like, yeah, I could push promethazine. But yeah, like, just stuff like that. Just going out of your way to go above and beyond. Those little things make a big difference in the end. So, anyway, I digress. A lot of words.
Going the extra mile never hurt anybody. It only makes you better.
Yeah. I mean, it might hurt your legs a little bit, but...
Well, yeah, but it makes you stronger in the long run. So,
going the extra mile, that comes from... I'm glad you mentioned that. That comes from, in, like, biblical, like, New Testament times, the Roman soldiers that were occupying Israel at the time. And if I'm wrong with any of this, somebody can correct me. But they were legally allowed to force a Jew to take all of their stuff, like all of their equipment, 1 mile. Which is, like, I feel like that kind of sucks, but that's not too bad. It's a mile. And that saying, go the extra mile, it comes from, I think even Jesus said it. Sorry, I don't want to turn this into a political podcast. But it goes back to my point, like, going the extra mile means take their gear that mile and then go another mile. Like, help them out, serve them, do more than you are required to do. And so going that extra mile in the fire and EMS service, it means just that, like, serve your guys. Like, you're required to come to work clean shaven, ready to go, like, you have everything in order, like, you're ready to go and you're doing work. If maybe you see your captain's shoes aren't shined and you've already shined yours, go ahead and shine his shoes. Like, that is the extra mile, in my opinion. Stuff like that. I haven't shined my captain's shoes because I'm scared to do it. But just stuff like that. Like, help your crew out. And anyway.
No, I totally get that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get biblical with you.
No, I appreciate it.
That's just where that comes from.
My mom will be well pleased. So, well, dude, that's all I got. Do you got anything?
I don't got anything else. Thanks for letting me do this. This is really fun.
No, thank you for coming on. I always say that I learned something from each episode, but this one's probably going to stand out because it's a lot of stuff I needed to hear right now, and it's a lot of stuff that I feel like can't be preached enough in the first responder field. So,
sweet.
So with that, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or future topic ideas, please email me at 22atthelips.podcast@gmail.com. Again, that's 22atthelips.podcast@gmail.com. Be safe out there, friends, and never stop learning. So
I think there's like 3 total. So
there's probably 100. Just like if I said Barlow, there's like 100 Barlows in St. George.
That's more like that way.
Southern Utah.
Yeah. You can take that out.
I was.